You are listening to the Cattle Call Podcast. This is the place where computer-aided design and drafting meets humor and practicality, with a touch of business acumen thrown in for fun. Jim and Rocco, the owners of Zentech Consultants, the premier U.S. technology consulting firm for architecture, engineering, construction, and manufacturing, discuss the fascinating world of CAD with some humor and some honesty. The Cattle Call Podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Cattle Call Podcast with Jim and Rocco from Zentech Consultants. I am Jim, your technologically gifted host, and with me, as always, is my partner.
Just the gifted one.
Just gifted? What were you gifted with?
I'm gifted with everything.
Obviously, he's gifted with all the money, folks, because I don't get any of it, which doesn't seem fair. So, cool. All right, but you know what time it is? Such is life. It sucks to be me some days. Most days, on it. Let's be honest. So, you know what time it is, Rocco? It's time for...
Oh, no.
The joke of the week.
Folks.
The joke of the week, the engineering joke of the week. And this one is special because I saw this one and it made me laugh because it reminded me of someone we used to work with. Previous place where Rocco and I used to work, we had a programmer named Ronnie. And Ronnie, greatest guy on the planet, love him to death. But I actually had a conversation very similar to this with him one day. All right, so this one is all for all the coders and the software engineers out there, right? So I have a conversation with Ronnie. He says to me, when I wrote this code, I designed it so that only God and I could understand how it worked. And now only God knows. Not an uncommon statement from software guys. Oh, goodness. That one made me laugh. Reminded me of Ronnie so much. So, Ronnie, if you're out there, that one's for you, buddy. All right. So, what's our topic today, Rocco? Oh, I know. We're doing better ways to buy design and construction software today. All right. So, that's our topic. So, you'd think after decades of software being kind of the cornerstone, right, of the design build world, that we know every possible purchase and licensing method available. The options out there, though, are always changing and being renamed, or, they just plain sound like some marketing person threw darts at a board and to come up with weird labels that don't even make sense. But today I want to get into the different methodologies, right, and explain what they are and how they work. And most importantly, in the second half of the show, I want to talk about a very specific type of software purchase called OEM. And don't worry, if you guys don't know what that is, I will explain it in a little while. So I want to talk about OEM and how it can literally change the way that you guys are working with the software you're using today. So let's kind of start this conversation with some common terms and processes that you guys likely know already, right? We're going to start with, annual subscriptions and perpetual licenses. Annual subscriptions, right, are the default model for most modern technology systems, right? Even though almost all of us hate them. It means that you're essentially leasing the software for a limited period, whether it's a month or a year or whatever. And that if you ever stop paying, right, the software stops working. And look, that is great for the software companies, but not so hot for the rest of us. Rocco and I were actually on the phone earlier this week with a client who is leaving his Autodesk products behind because he has, 5 designer drafters on his staff, and he's paying almost $12,000 a year, every year, just to be able to do basic drafting, and he ain't having any more of that. So Rocco, let me ask you, right? Who actually likes these annual subscriptions? I mean, is there really anybody out there other than the developers who benefit from them?
I don't think many people like it. I mean, in a case where you have, a short-term project, for example, and that a project is going to last a year and be done with, then yeah, you can budget it and build it into your project costs and such. But outside of that, no. I mean, a lot of people, feel like they're always being taken advantage of by the software companies.
Yeah.
And it's you have no choice, but there is a choice.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't know. I don't understand. you can't just hire a designer for a year, right, to teach them how to do all your work and be productive. It just doesn't work like that. All right, so the next thing, right, the next one up here is kind of the perpetual license, right? And the perpetual license, for old men like me, it was the default way of buying software for most of my life. You bought the software, you owned it, and you could use it forever, right? And most companies offered either a maintenance plan at a reduced cost, or they had an upgrade path so you could move to newer versions for reduced cost whenever you felt that the new features were going to be of benefit to you and your work. And for most of us, right, that meant we only upgraded every 2 or 3 releases of our design build softwares. And that was good for users, but the software companies hated it because it meant gaps in their revenue stream. The big tech firms out there, guys like Autodesk and Microsoft and Adobe, right, all that, they killed off the perpetual licensing model for their companies, despite huge outcries from their clients. At the end of the day, right, those big tech firms hold monopolies. They really do, on their respective industries, right? And we were all faced with the choice to either pay what they told us each year or just go out of business. So you look, if a guy named Rocco shows up at your store, right, and he says, that to you, right, do what I say, or otherwise, the store is gonna, disappear. We call that extortion. But apparently, when software companies do it, that's perfectly acceptable. So you see what kind of a name you have, Rocco? Do you see what goes along with that name?
I know. I got power, man.
I'm telling you, never mess with Rocco. That's why I never hang it. That's why he gets all the money. He's extorting me, folks. Help! Call the police. But look, there are still solid software systems out there that are offering perpetual licenses, but a lot of people really hesitate over making the move to those systems from just out of fear of change and the potential downtime, right, from a learning curve and moving to something new like that. So Rocco, systems like BricsCAD and Bluebeam, they both still offer perpetual licensing, right? How much of a factor is a perpetual license for people who are either moving to or looking to adopt those systems for the first time?
Yeah, it's big. I mean, particularly when people are starting out. Obviously they kind of BricsCAD and Bluebeam sort of service two different areas. Right, mostly engineering for BricsCAD and construction for Bluebeam, but it is definitely a point of interest, and people feel like with the perpetual license, it's affordable. It's a one-time purchase. I'm buying something that I own. I'll have it for as long as I can run it on my system, and that makes them happy. When you're kind of stuck, like, you lose access to the software if you don't use it. It's frustrating, and they kind of feel like, well, if I get into this bed, I'm not going to get out.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and I think it's real important, for people who are doing like picking up software change, for the first time. It's something you really want to consider before you get into that. Like I said, Rock, you're stuck in that bed forever now once you get into the annual subscriptions. Look, another key term I think that we need to visit in this half of the show is pooled, or sometimes called network licensing. This is the idea that you can buy fewer licenses than the number of people you have working, right, and let them share the licenses, right? In other words, if you have 10 employees who need to use CAD, but most of them only access it once or twice a week, right, you can just buy 5 licenses and let those people share, right? And it means up to 5 people at a time can use the licenses, right? And they're usually stored on the cloud or a central server. And once somebody closes the software, the license they were using now becomes available again in the pool for other people to use. It's a great way to reduce costs for the end users. Of course, right, that meant, fewer sales for the software companies. So yet again, the big developers killed that idea. They forced us all into what they call, named user licensing. And they gave us vague excuses about it. It was necessary for security purposes and for user satisfaction, right? Whatever the hell that means. Effectively, they just said, look, you're paying us for every single users, even if they only open the software once a year. And once again, we all just had to swallow it, right? You guys starting to see the pattern here? Luckily for all our sakes, right? There are newer companies out there that are using those greedy decisions made by the big companies to battle the design behemoths in the room. Companies like BricsCAD and Bluebeam and Civil Site Design and others are actively offering perpetual licenses and network licenses at lower costs, right, than the annual fee of systems like Autodesk, right? And they're offering these smaller companies are offering better products to help us all get off the we'll call it the greed merry-go-round. Now, I said at the top of the show that I wanted to talk about OEM packages today, right? OEM licensing is a brilliant method of getting perpetual licenses of what is usually an annual subscription. In other words, in the next half of this show today, I'm going to tell you guys how you can still get a perpetual license of AutoCAD and bundle it with your civil and survey vertical tools, right, that you need for your company. I bet I have everybody's attention now, don't I? All right, folks, so I'm going to use that. I'm going to ask you all to stand by, and I will explain how it works after we get a word in for today's sponsors. So stay in there, folks. We'll be back in just a minute with more of the Cattle Call Podcast. Today's Cattle Call Podcast is being brought to you by BricsCAD, the latest and greatest CAD software out there on the market today. It's growing by leaps and bounds, and the beauty of it is that BricsCAD allows you to use all of your current drawing files, all of the CAD commands and macros and features and Lisp routines and customizations and configurations that you've already developed, right? Without any transition. Your people can be up and running in BricsCAD in a matter of hours, right? So to help you make that transition here at Zentex, one of the things that we've done is we have actually created a Make the Move to BricsCAD program to help you move from your Autodesk-based platform over into BricsCAD with minimal time and risk and investment. And Rocco is going to tell you all about it. Rocco?
I'm going to tell you all about it. Well, there's a great deal of information that's available right on our website. It's zentechconsultants.net. You can reach out to us at sales@zentechconsultants.net or give us a call, 866-824-4459. But yeah, that's the core idea behind it, Jim. If you're an AutoCAD user and you're looking to make the move to BricsCAD, we're here to help make an easier transition for you. So check us out. Let us know how we can help you.
Perfect answer. BricsCAD, the smartest CAD system on the market today. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Cattle Call Podcast, where we're talking about the different types of software licenses available to us in the design build world. And I promise to explain to you guys the concept of OEM licenses. OEM stands for Original Equipment Manufacturer. And it was originally, way back in the day, it was a way to bundle software onto pre-built computers, right? If you guys are all like me, maybe you remember the days when, you'd order a Dell desktop and it came with 100 different choices of software that was all pre-installed, right? That was OEM. Now,
damn, how many years ago was that?
A lot. A lot. So that most of the people are going, what's a desktop? Yeah. So, well, yeah. Fair enough. But yeah, I mean, look, that process, as Rocco was so subtly pointing out, it's long dead. But the OEM license model is still out there. It's just used slightly different now. Now, third-party software developers can add their vertical tools to an existing big-name software like Autodesk, right? And they can sell both packages together with a single perpetual license structure. And look, I don't know why, but Autodesk in particular still has a very vibrant OEM system that they have active developers partnering with them on. It's that type of OEM licensing, right, along with a similar concept called bundling that I want to talk about in this half of the show. So Rocco, right, when you talk to clients, how many of them already know about OEM packages, or is it something that you need to explain what it even is?
No, they don't know what it is. I mean, if you've been in the software business, for a long time, like us old farts, you have an idea, but no, it's not a common term, that's for sure.
Okay, that's kind of what I figured. So look, folks, on the OEM front, I'm going to start with two systems that fall under my kind of my personal purview today, and that that is, you guys know, is survey and civil work. All right? So for most of us, right, survey civil work, that means we are working in Autodesk Civil 3D, and we're paying their really pricey annual subscription, even if we don't want to. And even if we try to get away from that system, right, we need to go out and buy a separate CAD package, a separate drive engine like BricsCAD. Then we have to go out and purchase a civil and a survey package to go on top of that, right? That's purchasing two systems and learning two new processes. And even when they offer perpetual licensing, which BricsCAD does, that big change in your primary system can be daunting. Right? And some of the vertical system offer options that run on vanilla AutoCAD, right? They do it that way to ease the transition, right? Some of those verticals for civil and survey and architecture and so on, but you're still kind of stuck paying that annual fee for the AutoCAD system, right? So where's the real benefit to that? Well, here is the perfect solution. Autodesk OEM bundles for the civil world, right? So Civil Site Design, right, which is a tool you guys have all heard me talk about on the show before. It's one of the most amazing site civil tools out there. And they offer what they call Civil Site Design Plus. And I'm just going to call it CSD Plus because it's a mouthful. All right? So CSD Plus is a fully licensed version of AutoCAD, right? Sold as a perpetual license with the CSD system fully integrated into it as one installation. You install it, you get both of them at the same time for one license. Right? So you can buy the CSD Plus system and you get AutoCAD and CSD together, right? Perpetual license, one payment, one low rate, which is usually, you think about this, right? You can get off the Autodesk annual subscription model that we all hate while still using Autodesk products and get better, faster, smarter civil tools. You buy that system once and upgrade CSD Plus when there are features that are important to you. Right? Oh, and just to make it clear, you can even get network licenses of CSD Plus, right? So the savings we're talking about here can be absolutely immense. Rocco, what's, when you talk to folks about it, right? What's kind of the buzz around that CSD Plus system, right? And where can folks go to get more info about it?
Yeah, there's definitely interest. I mean, again, it's an alternative to what you're stuck in, every day now. So, call us. I mean, it's definitely affordable, and there's even lease packages available, right? I mean, if you're a smaller business and you want to get going, we can work with you, and so just reach out to us, give us a call, drop us an email, send a text,
And the
go to
text,
Jim's house.
go to my, don't want to go to my house. That's not good. That's some scary stuff right there. It's bad enough. That's how Rocco embezzles me. He shows up. Rocco shows up at my house and says, be a shame if something would have happened at that house. These things happen. Oh, goodness. All right. So the other part of this, right, this conversation on OEM is on the survey side, right? And here's the thing, right? The guys who developed the CSD Plus also have, right, a full-blown field-to-finish survey system called Stringer Topo, right? And Stringer runs normally as a plugin for Civil 3D or a plugin for BricsCAD and a plugin for AutoCAD, right? Just like Civil Site, the standard Civil Site design does, right? But here's the important key. It can also be purchased as Stringer Topo Plus, right? Which is the OEM version with full AutoCAD perpetual licensing. And look, Stringer Topo, whether it's the Plus or the standard version, it's quite frankly, it's a much better survey system than anything that Autodesk or even competitors like Carlson are offering, right? It's got a brilliantly easy to use interface and works with almost any type of raw or field data that you can name. It generates, both 2D and line or 2D line work and full 3D surfaces when you import your points automatically. You can set it to match the point codes that your field crews are using. So, there's no workflow changes required. It's also got one of the most remarkably intuitive and simple visualization tools I've ever seen in a survey system, right? So, I'm going down the sales pitch, right? Really what you're talking about here is getting a top flight survey system fully integrated with the basic AutoCAD drafting package that you guys already know. And again, they're coming together with a single perpetual license. And look, let's be honest. Survey people in particular are noted for getting their systems set up and running and leaving it in place for years. I have surveyors who are still using LDD, from 2000. Not even kidding. We talk to those guys every single day. This OEM model is really the only way you can do that type of a structure, right? With modern software and getting modern tools and processes that'll be accessible and shareable with anybody. Rocco, right? The Stringer Plus, right? Their OEM version. It's amazing and it's regularly updated and enhanced, unlike some other survey systems that we're not going to mention. How do the survey firms respond when they see Stringer in action, right? And what do they think about the continuous version updating?
Yeah, so there's a new release of Stringer Turbo that's coming out now that we'll be talking about here over the coming weeks and months. And those who are seeing it on beta are extremely impressed with it. So that's pretty exciting stuff, because I think a lot of, like you're saying, a lot of survey firms buy it once and own it and stick with it. But the other thing is they kind of feel like they don't have many options. They're not thrilled with what Civil 3D can do. And, Carlson is a great product. I mean, it's been out for a long time. So they just kind of feel like it's Carlson or Autodesk, and most of them lean towards Carlson. So, and that can get expensive. So having another player in the mix here is definitely of interest, and we're definitely having a lot of conversations with folks.
And I think people see, like I said, it's a much more graphic package in terms of being able to visualize your survey. Where Carlson's still a very old school. It's not purely text based, but it's very text driven. Put it that way. All right. So the last thing that I wanted to hit on in today's show is the concept of bundling. And look, bundling isn't really a licensing model as much as it is a sales offer. But it is one that I think saves a lot of time, aggravation, and money. Bundling is something we encourage clients to do here at Zentech whenever they can. The idea is simple, right? You buy multiple software systems at the same time from the same vendor, i.e. Zentech, and we can discount both products, right? So in other words, if you want to buy Bluebeam, right, alongside our Zen Estimate Steel or Zen Estimate HVAC, right, and you also want to get your staff some training on how do you use those systems, effectively, right? Rocco is going to give you guys a solid discount off of each one of those items, right?
Only if they're nice.
If as long as you're nice, he won't give me a discount because he doesn't like me. No. See, there's the extortion again. Nothing for you. You'll pay full price. Look, I'll be honest, right? If you guys already own Bluebeam, right, and you want to move to Zentech as your reseller partner, all right, and then buy your add-ons and your training and support or whatever, we can even do that, right? It's the idea of putting it all in one place. I think all you need to do is send Rocco an email to make that all happen. Unless you're me, in which case he's just taking my money. But look, at the end of the day, right, bundling is convenient and it costs less for you. It puts as much software and licensing and support as you can into one vendor's hands. And look, from a business standpoint on the vendor end, we're happy to discount for that because we get more seats ordered and we have a long-term customer who's going to keep coming back to us as their business grows. And you guys need more licenses, and we hire new guys and we need more training, or somebody changed jobs and we have to train them how to do something else, right? That bundling concept is a big part of how we've grown Zentech, right, over the years. We work with clients to support multiple systems and processes for them. And I recommend you guys look into doing that, right? Even if Zentech is not your vendor of choice, though honestly, I mean, we really should be. I mean, if you guys are listening to us babble on this show every week, why would you do that if you don't trust us, right? I mean, I'm just saying. All right. So I tell you what, we'll leave it at that. Let's wrap things up today with this advice, right? Buy perpetual licenses, buy network licenses, buy OEM licenses whenever you possibly can, and bundle those licenses with your vendors and consultants whenever you can. Anything else you want to throw in there, Rocco?
No.
No. All right. In that case, we're going to get out of here, and we'll catch you next time on the Cattle Call Podcast. All right, everybody. Today's Cattle Call was brought to you courtesy of Zentech Consultants. That's Rocco and I. Zentech Consultants works with design and manufacturing firms to help our clients purchase and implement the software that they need in these complex industries. We provide a single point of contact for clients to buy, develop, and learn the most vital software systems for your specific needs. Zentech strives to be your trusted technology partner from your initial needs all the way through long-term support and training for your entire staff. So Rocco, why don't you tell them how to reach out to Zentech?
All right, yeah, you can reach out to us through zentechconsultants.net. You can email us at sales@zentechconsultants.net, or you can even call us, 866-824-4459.
Excellent. We look forward to hearing from y'all.